Good morning, Facebook. Here today we've got Psalms chapter 50, looking at verse 10. Now you see the psalmist here, he's continuing to talk about God's people and how they are towards him. You see, he's talking about how on the outside it looks like they're serving God. On the outside it looks like how they're obedient, how they're offering these sacrifices. But you see what the Lord describes, what the Lord says he sees on the inside is unlike what we see on the outside. How he sees a completely different story, contrary to what the physical circumstances will describe. You see, these people here, they're continuing their acts of obedience. They're continuing to serve God. They're continuing to offer these sacrifices. But you see in verse 10 how the Lord says how he has no interest in those sacrifices that you give. He has no interest in all that. And he says, what interest do I have? I already own all of those animals. And you see the reason God did not so much desire the obedience and the sacrifice so much as he wants the motive behind it. You see, the one thing that the Lord wanted from these people is the one thing that they were not willing to give, the one thing that they were not willing to surrender, because they were so focused on themselves. They were so focused on their lives. They were so focused on their family. They were so focused on everything that they could do in their strength. They had forgotten all the times when they really needed God. They'd forgotten all the times they were alone. They'd forgotten all the times when their back was against the wall. They forgot all the times when all hell seemed to break loose in their life. There was no way around it. There was no way through it, and there was no way out of it. But then you see, although darkness surrounded them, how God made a way when there was no way. How what was made impossible was made possible with God. You see how these people quickly forgot about that, and as a result, everything became like some mundane ritual. They would go through these acts, but yet their heart, it did not look to God. It did not desire God. Despite what their physical actions said, their heart looked at themselves. Their heart looked at their situations. Their heart looked at how can they change it? What can they do? How can they make a way? How can they make a way in the wilderness? And how can they make their families better off? Now they're focused on all the inconveniences of life, and they're not focused on God. But you see how easy that is for us to do. It's easy to forget about sincerity and focus on all the inconveniences, focus on all the trials. But as Christians, we start our day to day. Can we remember the wilderness experiences that we've been through? How God has always made a way, how his grace has always been there, even at times when we were not. Ask and search our heart, who really controls us? Who do we allow to control our hearts? Are we following after the will and the Spirit of God, or do we follow ourselves and our feelings, wondering what we can do in our situation?